Welcome to Mysteries to Die For, and this toe tag. I am TG Wolff, and I'm here with Jack, my piano player and producer. This is normally a podcast where we combine storytelling with original music to put you at the heart of a mystery. Today is a bonus episode that we call a toe tag. It's the first chapter from a fresh release in the mystery, crime, or thriller genre. Today's featured release is After Pearl by Stephen G. Eoannou. All right, we are actually going to read the first chapter today. I know you are all shocked and amazed. I'm just going to move this over here so I can see a little bit easier. All right. Chapter 1. Nicholas Bishop named the one-eyed dog Jake, even though she was female. Jake seemed like a good name for a pup missing an eye. He couldn't remember where the mud had come from. When he awoke on the floor of his room at the Lafayette Hotel, she sat close by, giving him a single-eyed stare. Strong arms said he stole the dog. She didn't weigh much, maybe 10 pounds, easy enough to scoop under his arm as he staggered home. He struggled to a sitting position and waited for the room to stop teetering. Vertebrae ground together as he rolled his head, hoping that would end the pounding between his ears. It didn't. He massaged his closed eyelids. The corneas felt swollen beneath his fingertips. Jake watched all of this, never once taking her eye off him. Bishop took inventory when the world righted itself. Rubbing his chin, whiskers whispered against his palm. He tried to guess how long it had been since he shaved. 2 days? 3? His shirt cuff was dirty and frayed. He pushed it higher on his arm. The bulova was still on his wrist, the crystal cracked, hands frozen at 2:30. His pewter-handled cane was on the floor next to an empty bottle of 4 roses. The pain in his right foot stabbed, sharper than usual. He wondered if it would swell if he unlaced his shoe. No memory of re-injuring it came to him. He patted his suit coat and felt his wallet inside the inside pocket, and the .38 Detective Special holstered near his heart. The wallet was empty. There were 4 slugs in the stub nose, not 6. He sniffed. It had been fired. He crawled to bed and pulled himself on the mattress, not bothering with his clothes. Jake hopped up, circled twice, and then settled down by the footboard, keeping her eye on Bishop as if her doubts about him were increasing now that he was conscious. Memories were slivered as he tried to recall when he had fired the gun. Day drinking at the Kitty Cat, the revolving bar at Chez Ami, perfume, a blonde, a car ride. No recollections about a one-eyed dog or gunshots. He checked the .38 again. Who had he fired at? Had he hit him? Had he killed them? The ringing phone was an ice pick to his ear. The only way to stop the pain was by answering. "Hello," Bishop said, his voice raspy. "Coppers!" It took a heartbeat for the desk clerk's voice to register. The line died. When it did, Bishop slammed the receiver into its cradle and swung his legs to the floor. The world again tottered. He swallowed bile until his swollen eyes teared. His damaged foot bore weight, but every metatarsal sent ripples of agony with each step. He retrieved his cane and hat from the floor without toppling, something he considered miraculous, and felt grateful to the angel or demon in charge of keeping crippled detectives upright. The hallway was deserted. He limped to the stairwell before an elevator full of cops arrived at his floor. Bishop didn't mind talking to the police, but he wanted to know what they were after before he did. He was certain it had nothing to do with the stolen dog, but everything to do with the 2 fired slugs. Guilt, thick and dark, oozed through him, but he couldn't tell if it was old remorse or something new. It was slow going down the stairs. He couldn't outrace the fattest cop, not with his 4F foot. He gripped the railing and leaned on the cane as he eased down each step, moving like a man much older than 30. Jake waited on the landing, tilting her head as if listening for shouts or thunderous feet descending from above. There were none. Were Buffalo's finest tossing his room, rifling through drawers, pulling suits from hangers, checking pockets for what? His gun? He wished he could walk to the Allendale Theater, buy a dime bag of popcorn, and watch the last few days of his life project on the silver screen, certain it would be more informative than any newsreel. When he reached the ground floor, he pushed open the fire exit and was blinded by the sunshine reflecting off the sidewalk and car fenders. So it's afternoon, he thought. But was it Monday or Tuesday? Bishop raised his hand to shield his eyes. He didn't see his Packard anywhere. Benny, the junk man, stood by the hotel's dented garbage cans. His cart was loaded with the day's salvaged items. Bundled rags, andirons, dresses, blouses. The clothing looked newer and of better quality than what Benny usually found. Bishop wondered if he'd been pulled from clotheslines. Unlike the mean drunks and meaner children who tormented him, Bishop knew Benny wasn't stupid. He left the best part of himself in the Argonne, still fighting that battle 2 decades later. He spent his days pushing his cart through the streets, crisscrossing Buffalo, searching for discarded treasures. His body passed through alleyways, rummaging for things to pawn, but what remained of his mind was mired in that burning forest, surrounded by the dead and the dying. Still, Benny sometimes saw and heard things that were real. A woman got her purse snatched on Genesee Street. There was a new girl, a real doll face, working at the Michigan Avenue brothel. A big card game was going on above the new Genesee restaurant. He would whisper these truths to Bishop, and the shamus would pay him for the information. A quarter, 50 cents, maybe $1, even if it had nothing to do with the case he was working. Other times, Bishop asked him to keep an eye out for a certain car or a dame. Nobody paid attention to a junk man lingering on a corner, just like no one paid attention to 15-year-old Bishop when he started working the streets. The information that Benny provided that was relevant to Bishop's investigation was worth a fin, or more, a fortune to a rag collector. Benny was still a good soldier, putting the mission first, and most times getting information the gimpy detective needed. Jake sniffed the junk man's unlaced army boots. "Benny, what do you know? What do you hear?" Benny turned from the garbage pails and squinted as if trying to pick Bishop out of a crowd of gathering ghosts. Recognition registered in stages from the top down. Brow wrinkled, eyes widened, mouth curved into a smile. "I didn't know you had a dog, Bishop." "You see her too, huh?" The junk man wasn't sure how to answer. "Have you seen my car, Benny? The Packard?" "Your car?" "The green convertible." Benny looked around the hotel alleyway and down Ellicott Street. "There's no car here, Bishop." "Well, keep your eyes out for it, all right? You know which one it is, don't you? Let me know if you spot it." "You think someone stole your green car?" It's probably parked in front of the kitty cat or the Shay. Hopefully it's not in a ditch somewhere." "Why would you leave your car in a ditch, Bishop?" "For safekeeping," Bishop said. "Say, you hear anything about a shooting or why the cops are looking for me?" "Oh, I haven't heard about those things." "Okay, maybe it's nothing. But if you hear something or find my car, you come tell me. If I'm not here, leave a message with Corbett at the front desk." Benny saluted, his hand slicing the air as sharp as it had in 1918. "Good man, carry on," Bishop said, and the junkman resumed rummaging through the garbage pails. It was a 4-block limp to the kitty cat to hunt for his car. Bishop wasn't sure he could make it. He was considering sticking out his thumb when Lieutenant Darcy rounded the corner. His face, flushed pink from the heat, broke into a wide grin when he saw Bishop. "Rats are always in alleys, but I found a weasel. You think you can outrun that law with that crippled foot, Bishop?" "I'm not running, Lieutenant. I'm walking my dog." "That's a dog. It's in worse shape than you." "Me and Jake aren't morning people." "Morning people? The day's half done, Bishop." "Time flies." "Not in prison it don't, which is where you're headed, draft dodger." Bishop winced and hoped it didn't show. "Is sleeping late a crime?" "No, but murder is." "What do you know about Pearl Duguay, smart guy?" "Never heard of her," Bishop said. "Who is she?" "Singer from the Chez Ami gone missing. We found her purse not far from here. Cleaned out, of course, except for one thing." "Trolley fare?" "Your business card." Darcy pulled the card and read, Bishop investigations. Criminal, civil, missing persons located. Licensed and bonded. Who the hell would bond a coward like you? Bishop took off his hat and ran his fingers through his hair. When did this Duguay woman go missing? Saturday. And what's today? Thursday. Jeez. Darcy wiped his face with the handkerchief. Funny you never heard of her. Not only was your card in her purse, I also got a revolving bar full of people at Chase and me who saw you two together. And they say you weren't exacting acting like brother and sister. You even know have you ever seen my sister, Lieutenant? She's a looker. I wouldn't put it past you. I wouldn't put anything past a guy who sticks his foot in front of a moving taxi to keep out of the army. Were you working for Duguay or just working her? I honestly can't say, Lieutenant, Bishop said, wondering if she was blonde. If she hired you to protect her, it looks like you did your usual swell job. Speaking of which, how's business? It pays the light bill. Not at your office, it don't. Heard you had to close that down. Got rid of that good-looking secretary, too. Lucky Teddy Thurston must be rolling in his grave. I work out of the Lafayette now, Bishop said. Teddy would be fine with that. The hell he would. Only whores work out of hotels. Funny how business dried up on you. I guess folks who lost husbands and sons on December 7th and at Bataan don't want to hire a chicken shit Jap lover. Makes me wonder why Duguay hired you. She must be as shady as Fat Ira. I read you work for him these days. I heard you work for Joey Bones, Bishop said. Have been for a long time. Darcy took a step forward and jabbed a finger at Bishop. Listen, you cripple shit. If this Pearl Duguay shows up dead, I'm pinning it on you. I got a nice frame already picked out. Pleasure talking with you, Lieutenant, but I'm late for an appointment. With which bottle? Say hello to Joey for me. Watch out for taxis, Weasel. You wouldn't want to have two crippled feet. Bishop caned his way down Ellicott as Jake trotted ahead. The sun was hot on his neck. He could smell bourbon seeping through his pores. His stomach cramped, and he'd wondered when he'd last eaten, uncertain he could keep anything down if he ate now. Guilt weighed on him. Its cause remained unclear. There were a few day drinkers at the Kitty Cat. They sat along a long oak bar nursing bourbon and looking up when the door opened, their rummy eyes red. Empty stools separated them, leaving each alone to sip until Mercy kicked in. A radio behind the bar was tuned to the Bison's game, Detroit's AA affiliate. Roger Baker was calling the action. No one paid attention. The Bisons were an uninspired team. They swung their bats and ran the bases as if waiting for their induction notices. Their best players had either been called up by the Tigers or Uncle Sam or enlisted after Pearl Harbor. Everything had changed after Pearl. When the door shut behind Bishop, a sadness crept into him. He never liked being sober in a bar during the day. Night's dimness forgave the tavern's flaws. Lowered lights hid chipped paint, shadow masks stained walls, cigarette haze obscured the faded faces around him. Whiskey made it tolerable. Sobriety and daytime's unforgiving light burned those illusions away, and it was all revealed. The chips, the stains, the washed out, and the washed up. Sorrow always filled him. Bishop's stomach clenched again. The kitty smelled of spilt beer and burning cigarettes. Maybe a drink and a smoke would settle him. Maybe a few more drinks would drown the sadness. The bartender, a thick man wearing a stained apron, stared at him with folded arms. A toothpick slid from one side of his mouth to the other. Bishop sat at one of the stools. His foot had swollen during the walk down Ellicott. He could feel it ballooning inside of his brogan. Hello, Frank. What do you know? What do you hear? I know you shouldn't be in here, Bishop. Charlie don't want you around. Charlie always wants me around, Bishop said, his arms outstretched. I add to the atmosphere. Not after Saturday, you don't. Bishop lowered his arms. What happened Saturday? You don't remember? Bishop remembered showing up around noon and ordering 4 roses to celebrate. He had closed that adultery case for Fat Ira, getting clear photos of the client's husband, a Buffalo councilman, coming and going from the Blue Dolphin Inn with a tall brunette. He even got a few action shots between the curtain gap, the brunette's long legs wrapped all the way around, worthy of a couple of extra prints he kept in a file for himself. Ira had paid him well. He remembered buying drinks and playing the jukebox, Chattanooga Choo Choo, Jersey Bounce, a string of pearls. There may have been dancing, or as close to dancing as he could manage. Had he imagined it? He hadn't danced since before the accident. He'd been happy Saturday, hadn't he? And only planned on having a few. "Tell me what happened," he said. "You went crazy, Bishop, swinging your cane like DiMaggio. You're lucky you didn't kill that Irishman." "What Irishman?" "Jesus, you don't remember anything? That big-headed lug at the end of the bar was riding you about your foot, kept saying you stepped in front of that taxi on purpose to dodge the draft. Next thing I know, you're choking up and swinging away, smashing glasses and bottles off the bar like hanging curveballs. Booze and glass was flying everywhere. Some dame got a shard in her eye and had to go to the hospital. Then you start taking cuts at that big-headed Mick and screaming that you weren't no draft dodger. You're lucky you fell over before you killed him. If your cane's handle had connected with the skull, you'd be sitting in jail right now, and not even Fat Ira could help you." Bishop vaguely remembered swinging, losing his balance, and falling. He thought it had been a dream. He often dreamt of falling. Perhaps those dreams were memories. "You gotta learn to walk away when people ride you, Bishop," Frank said. "That lug's son is missing in the Pacific. He's got a right to be angry. This war's gonna be a long one. There'll be more dead sons, and folks won't be happy seeing you limping around and dancing while they got gold stars hanging in their windows. Things are gonna get worse for you." Bishop dug out a quarter. "Give me a beer." "You don't listen. Charlie don't want you here. Go get cleaned up and dry out. Let Charlie cool off. Maybe after that he'll let you back." "One drink, Frank." "One drink, but not for you," Frank said. "Look at the way that mutt's panting." He poured water into a coffee cup and pushed it across the bar to Bishop. "Give him that and then get out before Charlie gets back." "It's a she," Bishop said, taking the water. "Her name's Jake." "Jesus, I hope you never have to name a daughter." Bishop set the cup down and Jake lapped it up like there was nothing she needed more than that moment than a drink, just like everyone in the kitty cat. "Was I with the blonde on Saturday?" "Not in here you weren't." "Who was I dancing with?" "Your cane, Bishop. You were dancing with your cane." There was no sign of the Packard on Ellicott or Genesee Street. His foot hurt too much to walk to Oak and look for it there. He and Jake stood in front of the kitty cat in the building's shade, trying to remember the last time he'd seen it. If he was to place a wager with Joey Bones, he'd bet large it had been after dark, and a blonde was driving, the hair whipping her hair, perfume scenting the night. He couldn't remember where they'd driven. While he had conjuring her face from the fog of lost days and blurry nights, Fat Ira pulled to the curb. He leaned across the front seat of his Hudson to talk to Bishop through the rolled-down passenger window. The lawyer had come by his nickname honestly. His face was cheek and jaw, hanging flesh that rippled in waves. His suits never fit. They were either large and billowing or tight and constricting. Today's pinstripe parachuted around him. He weighed 300 pounds on a slim day and wheezed when he talked. Bishop's mentor, Ted Thurston, had been the opposite, blade thin and always wearing custom suits with an inside jacket pocket designed to hold a gun. Lucky Teddy never liked shoulder holsters. "Bishop, where have you been?" Ira asked. "I've been looking for you." "I've been around." "I got work for you." He opened the door and Jake leapt in and settled in the back seat. "You got a dog? I'm glad you finally made a friend." Bishop pulled the door shut behind him. Ira liked the Hudson because it had a roomy interior to accommodate him. Bishop liked it for the same reason. He didn't like the fat man pressing against him, especially in summer. The gear shift was on the column and Ira put it in first, easing from the curb and down Genesee Street. "You don't look so good, Bishop. Your color's off. I've only seen gray skin on corpses." "Summer colds are the worst," he answered, scanning the lots for his Packard. He flexed his leg, grateful to be off his foot. "You don't smell too good either." "The dog needs a bath," Bishop said. "Dogs don't smell like booze," Ira said, glancing at Bishop to see if he was listening. "You gotta start taking care of yourself." Bishop pulled out cigarettes. "You got a job for me?" "Yeah, another cheating husband case," Fat Ira said. "Christ. Don't be that way," Ira said, steering around the corner. "Adultery is your specialty. You're a genius at creeping around. Nobody peeks through windows like Nicky the Weasel." "Don't call me that." "You'll like this case. It's society people. I know how much you enjoyed taking them down." "I enjoyed taking their money." Bishop lit his smoke and flicked the match out the window. "Well, these folks have plenty. At least she does. Her husband's an artist." "What kind?" Bishop asked. "The starving kind until he met her. She's quite a bit older and wealthier, from what I hear." You haven't met her?" Ira looked at his watch. "We're meeting her at my office in 10 minutes. We'll get the skinny then." "Raise your rates if she's wearing a lot of jewelry," Bishop said. "Double them if they look real." "We've had this conversation before, Bishop." "Well, listen to me this time, Ira. Everyone gets charged the same," Ira said. "That's why we'll never be rich. Swing by the hotel so I can clean up before I meet this dame." "No time. We'll tell her you're working undercover in the slums." "Maybe I was. I work other cases beside yours." Ira laughed. "No, you don't. Not anymore." Bishop shot twin streams of smoke through his nostrils. "You don't know everything, fat man. I landed a missing person case today. A singer named Pearl Duguay. Ever hear of her?" "Duguay? Sounds like a burlesque dancer, not a singer." "No fans or feather for her," Bishop said. "She sang at the Chez Ami. She's legit. Pretty sure she's blonde." "What do you think happened to her?" Bishop rubbed his eyes. "I don't know. Hoping she's not stuffed in the missing car with a couple of slugs in her. I was on my way to the Chez when you picked me up." "Let's talk to this wronged wife first," Fat Ira said. "Then you can chase after your blonde." "Are you sure this wronged wife is rich?" "I'm beginning to think you're only in this for the money," Fat Ira said. "I have certain habits to feed," Bishop said, wishing he'd brought his flask. All right, that is the first chapter of After Pearl. So here's my review. After Pearl is a PI mystery. So World War II is raging, and private investigator Nicholas Bishop is fighting a hangover. Sometime in the days he can't remember, his .38 had been fired twice, and the woman he was last seen with has gone missing. While juggling jobs that actually pay the bills, Bishop must find the woman before the police make good on their threat to hold him responsible. Bottom line, After Pearl is for you if you like detectives in historical periods who are equally dedicated to their craft and the bottle. You really got a good taste of who Bishop is from that first chapter, and it also gave you a pretty nice setup into the case, so he's working two basically simultaneously. So singer Pearl Duguay has disappeared. The black woman was last seen in the drunken company of Nick Bishop. Bishop has flashes of the night, blonde hair, scarf, a rocking chair, but it's not enough to piece together what happened to Pearl and how he might be involved. The cops like him for it, but they can't answer the pivotal questions either, and so the race is on to find Pearl. Bishop is an engaging lead and a character well suited to the classic PI role. He has little family, no spouse. He grew up one step away from the streets. He's a blackout drunk who escaped the draft because a cab hit him and permanently damaged his foot. Classified as 4F, he's treated as a draft dodger by most. You heard a little bit of that. Having to suffer the curses and accusations by the parents, spouses, and siblings of those overseas. Bishop is a great addition to the class of hard-nosed PIs like Marlowe, Spade, and Hammer. Really do think he is he's different enough both with the time period and with the things he's dealing with, to not be a carbon copy, but he's certainly cut from the same mold. In supporting characters, they do a nice job of adding color while keeping Bishop from being an all-out asshat. Most important to this last part is Miss Gia Alessi. She is the part-time secretary, part-time nurse, part-time partners in crime, and she helps us and Bishop see the humanity in him. She's really the balance, a very nice balance to him. The bad guys here are an interesting cast. They're the primary drivers of the story, and they keep everyone guessing. There's Bishop's client, the socialite, who is trying to hire Ira, and by extension, Bishop, and her unfaithful husband, a dirty politician, and then just for fun, a group of Nazis that no one believes exists. The story is set in Buffalo, New York in 1942, and this creates, I thought, a pretty rich backdrop for the story, weaving in the culture and style and standards of the time, with the social anxiety of a nation at war, and ordinary people just hoping their loved ones came back home. Between the stylistic things like the hat and the cane, just the difference in the time period of how people dressed and talked, the roles between men and women, the roles of the different socialite to the working class. This book does a very, very nice job of weaving those into the story so that we get a very rich setting and not just a flat backdrop. Standing at the end and looking back to the beginning, I have a few questions. Bishop's actions and his motives are consistent throughout, so I really have no fault here to pick with Bishop. It's the bad guys where I see a couple of kinks in the road, and yeah, there's times where I'm like, the story would have stopped if it hadn't been for the bad guys. And that's why we're often, when I read books, I look to see, does our hero drive the story forward? And in this case, while Bishop is certainly working his butt off, it is the bad guys who keep everything moving. Overall, The Pearl is a strong new addition to the world of hard-boiled private eyes. The entertainment value was very high. I think I read this in 2 sittings. I just flew through it. Highly, highly recommend. After Pearl was released from the Santa Fe Writers Project and is promoted by Partners in Crime Tours. It's available from Amazon and other book retailers. Now let me introduce you to our author, Stephen G. Eoannou, and I hope I didn't totally butcher your name, Stephen. He holds an MFA from Queen's University of Charlotte and an MA from Miami University. He has been awarded the Honor Certificate from the Society of Children's Book Writers and Illustrators and the Best Short Screenplay Award at the 36th Denver Film Festival. His novel, Yesteryear, was awarded the 2021 International Islands Award for Best Historical Novel, the Firebird Book Award for Biographical Fiction, and the Shelf Unbound's Notable Indie Book of 2023. He lives and writes in his hometown of Buffalo, New York, the setting and inspiration for much of his work. Link to his webpage will be in the show notes. Wondering what to read after you finish After the Pearl? Partners in Crime Tours is your ultimate destination for all things mystery, crime, thriller, and cozy. Since 2011, they've been working to fill bookshelves with gripping and heart-pounding reads. Discover your new favorite series, mystery series, and connect with other fans. Look up Partners in Crime Tours on the web or your favorite social media. Links for them are in the show notes too. And authors, whether you're looking to promote your latest thriller or connect with fellow fans of genres, PICT has you covered. Check out their promotion options that come with the personal attention of a dedicated coordinator. And then join us next week for Season 8, Anything But Murder. A missing persons case is our next murderless mystery with The Florida Man Cometh by Jim Winter. All right, Jack, take us out.